Welcome everybody, 9th August 2025, Saturday, exactly 4 p.m. Finally got one at the top of the hour of any hour. Welcome. Figured I'd do one on this weekend. It's like a weekend update in a sense because so many weird things happened yesterday. I'll go ahead and put them in today. Real clear, about to say something else. The real clear wire. AI can be used to develop biological and chemical weapons. AI has been used to develop biological chemical weapons. Let's use AI to stop it. The greatest threat to America may be something we cannot see. World's first robot sales center launches in China. Robot mall in Beijing operates exactly like car dealerships with humanoid robots instead of dealers. Shoppers get a hand of 100 different robots, a dog, a humanoid that plays the guitar, robot pet dog. Waiting for more of the caption to come through. The outlet not only sells robots, but also offers services such as maintenance and insurance. That's a triceratops right there. Baby triceratops. Like, again, that's going to be, there's more on that, by the way. It's all from China too. China unveils robots that work 24/7, smart enough to put their own battery into the charger, touted as the world's first battery swapping tech. And they asked, is it time for humans to sweat about job security? That's not far-fetched. That's why UBI is in play, and cities are trying. I'm trying to read that at the same time talking to this about this. But yeah, you don't have to pay them in insurance. You don't have to pay them Social Security. You don't have to pay them health insurance. You don't have to pay them overtime. You don't even have to pay them. China's automaker Geely launches satellite to support positioning and self-driving for its cars. Geely, now owner of Volvo, has already deployed 41 satellites with 23 more planned in next 2 months. Will Geely give Tesla a run for this money? So you'll probably see Elon do this as well. Enraged over purported COVID vax injury, gunman attacks CDC, kills cop. This happened in Atlanta yesterday. A police officer is dead after a surgical mask wearing gunman riddled the Atlanta HQ with a CDC and prevention with bullets. His parents think it was an act of revenge, saying their son believed he had an illness caused by the controversial C19 jab. The attack ended with the shooter's own death, but it's unclear as at this point if his mortal wound was self-inflicted. CDC campus did receive multiple rounds into their building. Atlanta PD Chief Darren Sharonbaum told reporters CDC Director Susan Monares said 4 buildings were hit. As this is written, the name of the white male shooter has not been released by authorities. He was armed with 2 handguns, a rifle, and a shotgun. A law enforcement official told CNN he was wearing what appeared to be a surgical mask, like those the CDC pushes for all men, women, and children to wear during the Rona scam. Despite well-informed doubts of their efficacy and concerns of their ill effects, he was also wearing ear protection. So we now local news was reporting this here as it says here, opens fire at Emory University. They didn't mention CDC on local news yesterday. They just mentioned Emory. Let's see. Watch shows bullets on ground. Building CDC headquarters. Blue Atlanta. CDC window struck by gunfire at Emory University. Mexico's president says U.S. forces are unwelcome in her country. This is the whole idea of Trump saying he's going to send the military in against the cartels. Mexico's president says, no, you're not, which is the right thing for her to do. It's her land. They're a sovereign country. Trump has no authority going into a sovereign country doing anything he wants. He is not the emperor of the world as much as he wants to think it is. The Mexican government thought it had turned a corner in cooperating with the Trump administration on combating the cartels, having launched an aggressive crackdown of its own. President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico, because it's perfect, traditional Mexican name, rejected the use of U.S. military forces in her country on Friday, responding to news that President Trump has directed the Pentagon to target drug cartels that the United States considers terrorist organizations. The United States is not going to come to Mexico with the military. We cooperate, we collaborate, but there is not going to be an invasion. That is ruled out, absolutely ruled out, she said, adding that she would read the order, quote, "It is not part of any agreement, far from it. When it has been brought up, we have always said no." Here's Pamela Jeffrey Epstein's binder Bondi today. Yesterday, we're talking. Was this 2 days ago? Yeah, two days ago. The Justice Department and State Department are announcing a $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. So, talking about putting a hit, the U.S. government put a hit out on Nicolas Maduro. I think, was it? Correct me if someone in chats if I'm wrong on that. Was that the same amount for Bin Laden? You know, Bin Laden was an inside. He was an asset of the CIA. But now Maduro, what did he do to get a $50 billion hit on his head? I'll show you. This is why America put a $50 billion bounty on Venezuelan President Maduro. Quote, "Who is the one that bombs their neighboring countries every day? Iran? No. The Zionist state led by Netanyahu. Uh-oh, that will get you killed." You cannot call out the war criminal and pretty much the guy who runs the United States of America, Bibi Netanyahu, at all. In Canada, he is Jeff Everly. He is the first Canadian to receive a $28,000 ticket for walking in the forest. $28,870.50 fine for walking in the forest. Here it was Alan Dershowitz. Pierogi addict Alan Dershowitz was escorted from a farmer's market stand on Martha's Vineyard after insisting on returning to a vendor who previously refused to serve him and threatening to sue. So Alan's threatening to sue the vendor. The vendor, remember you ever gone into a store with no shoes, no shirts, no service? We refuse service. We had the right to refuse service to anybody. Again, remember back this is Michael Knowles. Alan is completely in the right here. I hope he sues. Ruin these insufferable lives and take all their pierogies. You remember back in the day, long ago, where you had the LGBTQ mafia going up to Christian bakers and forcing them to bake a cake and then suing the cake baker and going to court with them all over just forcing them to buy them a cake. And what did the fake right talk about? Oh, yeah, you can refuse service. No one owns your business. You have the right to refuse or sell whatever. You can do whatever you want in your business. Well, it's okay when we do it. The fake right, the fake white woke right is all about doing the exact same thing that they condemned 4 years ago. Maha Action just deleted this new video of RFKJ talking about how they're developing a new universal jab at NIH for corona and flu, which is, quote, going to be a much safer and more effective vaccine. Drake hazard a guess why they do that. And there's a screenshot of the it's not playing. It's just playing the video. So you can download. Everything's already in the show notes underneath. Check it out. I've seen him already. They've deleted this on other platforms. So if you have to take it out, you pretty much upload it yourself. But here's Secretary RFKJ's Twitter page. Today, we are taking a bold step in restoring public trust by totally reconstituting the Advisory Committee for Immunization Practices, ACIP. A clean sweep is necessary to reestablish public confidence in vaccine science. The entire world once looked to American health regulators for guidance, inspiration, scientific impartiality, and unimpeachable integrity. Public trust has eroded. Only through radical transparency and gold standard science will we earn it back. In the opinion column, HHS moves to restore public trust in jabs. We are. Please read my op-ed. By the way, what happened during 2020 is they had one of the things that WF had, was literally a website on public restoring the public confidence. They had plenty of videos talking about this. U.S. Congress urges Treasury Secretary and Zionist Bessent and Soros guy to investigate Ireland's proposed boycott of Israel. Quote, the United States must send a clear signal that efforts to economically isolate Israel will carry consequences. In translation, the United States is wants to go to war with Israel pretty much, and that Ireland. Here's Ireland's Israeli boycott bill may violate U.S. anti-boycott laws, particularly Israel, under Section 999, potentially placing Ireland on the U.S. boycott list. You can't make this stuff up. U.S. threatens Ireland over boycott of Israel. Quote, if you try to economically isolate Israel, you will bear consequences. How dare you stand against the homicidal Israel? U.S. Congress urges Treasury Secretary and Soros gay guy Bessent to investigate Ireland's proposed boycott of Israel. You already read that part. This comes after the Trump administration even threatened U.S. cities and states that they would not receive federal aid if they boycotted Israel. You can boycott anybody you want, just not Israel. Here's a guy talking about it. So Netanyahu has instructed the United States to go after Israel, attacking one of its oldest allies. Ireland. I keep saying Israel, Ireland. I saw the I. What he's saying, and again, and you check it out, it's in the show notes, but you see the clips. Ireland intends to pass trade ban with Israel settlements amid U.S. pressure. Ireland urges EU to review Israel trade deal over Gaza genocide. So this, I mean, it's a moral thing that they're doing. They're upset about what's going on in Gaza, but U.S. isn't. They're putting it. I mean, yeah, that's a clip of all the people from the House of Representatives over there, the Senate. Here's the Congress of the United States. Hey, get Ireland on board, get them in lockstep of what's going on. Settlement expansion. Let's see. I thought there was one more. If the West truly supports a two-state solution, it must sanction Israel. This was from Le Monde. Will it do a domino effect? He ends up bringing it up. If Ireland goes, will other ones go with it? I mean, U.S. is drawing a line. It's going to be fun to see what happens with this. Trump weighs reclassifying marijuana as a less dangerous drug. The president told donors earlier this month he was interested in reclassifying the drug. Now I get it. It is if you use it incorrectly, obviously you screwed up your mind. It has a ton of medicinal benefits, from pain to anti-cancerous properties and things like that. So yes, it grows out of the ground. God put it in the ground. Not saying don't put me as a pothead and a Mary Jane guy. I'm just saying there's a reason why the government is going at. Was it cocaine? There's benefit was the eye. If something about putting it in your eye was beneficial for eye problems. It's cocaine or something like that. And it might not have been cocaine, but it was something on that level. But it was the misuse of it always leads to something bad. So again, when you get the real drug heads, drug busts, cartels, Pfizer, Moderna. I mean, how many people have they killed? I mean, the opioid crisis manufactured by legalized drug dealers. Trump is building a maximalist government. In a series of actions this week, the president sought to expand the government's reach. That's the understatement of the decade right there. It's not that Trump wants more power over the federal government. He's also trying to give the federal government more power over society itself. Since Monday, the Trump administration has moved to assert new power over institutions like colleges and banks. He has ordered a surge of law enforcement in D.C., a city that ostensibly has home rule. He has dialed up pressure on state lawmakers across the country to further stir up his power through redistricting, a goal he is pursuing. He is also pursuing his efforts to redo the census in pursuit of a count that would be more favorable to Republicans. It's presidential maximalism in action. It's also an extension of his efforts to punish companies for diversity, equality, equity, and inclusion initiatives and to crack down on law firms and universities. Here are 4 areas that Trump has expanded the government's reach this week. Education, requiring the education department to collect more detailed data on college applicants, including information on race, gender, test scores, and grade point average. That creates something conservative activists have long waited. A role for federal government to scrutinize admissions to public and private universities alike. In other words, they shouldn't be doing that at all because the federal government has no authority in that. Banking or debanking. Another president action on Thursday instructed federal agencies and regulators to stop the banks from borrowing customers for what Trump described as political or religious reasons, something that mostly right-leaning groups have complained about. I mean, that was a big thing, especially 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Voting, redistricting Washington, D.C., and that's trying to federalize D.C. Trump brokered Armenia-Azerbaijan peace deal secures U.S. trade route. This happened yesterday at the White House, signed a joint declaration ending 4 decades of hostility between the two nations. The accord also launches the Trump route, a new transport corridor aimed at unlocking the region's commercial potential, the White House said. During the meeting, the two countries will sign a joint declaration formalizing an agreement establishing the Trump route for international peace and prosperity, or TRIP, if you're nasty, TRIPP. White House spokesperson Anna Kelly told reporters during a call previewing the meeting, quote, by locking in this path to peace, we are unlocking the great potential of the South Caucasus region in trade, transit, and energy flows. He said the losers are China, Russia, and Iran. The winners here are the West. We're going to get everybody around the table. We're going to be the most first-class operating system, officials said. Said the two nations have engaged in cross-border conflicts since the 1980s. Here's Iran will block Trump's Caucasus corridor. Khamenei's advisor Valayati said, quote, we will not become Trump-owned corridor, but graveyard for his mercenaries. Warren's plan will divide Armenia. No nation agrees to division of its land, even if government unfortunately takes unstable positions. Tehran warns against foreign intervention near shared borders as Trump physically cuts Iran from Armenia. And so here's a little map of what happened there. U.S. to run controversial Zangezur corridor. There's the corridor. That's the new Trump corridor right there that they're calling it. Netanyahu will drown in blood of people he condemned to starvation, Turkish Prime Minister said. Fidan said tyrant Bibi will be erased from history along with his tyranny. Here's Turkey and Egypt condemned Bibi's full Gaza City occupation plan. Egypt calls for a full global pressure on Israel to reverse decision. And in Tel Aviv's, quote, policy of starvation and genocide and Holocaust, if you want to go ahead and say what's really up. Alarming new study finds smartphones ruining our brains at unprecedented speed. And that's probably in the water's wet file because you can just walk down the street and see people like zombies walking up and down the sidewalk. People looking at their phone, running into a post. I actually saw a kid, we were at a park today. There's a park not too far from us to let the kids run around in. And there was kids playing soccer and they had the earbuds in. And they were probably 6 to 8 years old. Human connection to nature has declined 60% in 200 years, study finds. And that's pretty much, right. You can take anybody and put them outside and they won't have a clue what they're walking around in or, let's shoot dandelions. Let's use cancer-causing stuff that kill dandelions, which helps cure cancer. A Trump-era wish, just 1 day of sanity. And you can go that back to the Brandon administration. That's not just a Trump thing. That's a modern politic thing right there. It's insanity. The last 20 years that I can think of right there. Trump-Putin summit in Alaska resembles a slow defeat for Ukraine. So they said that Putin and Trump were going to meet each other. They picked a spot last night. It's going to be in Alaska. sometime next week. London police arrest 365 people as pro-Palestinian protesters defy new law. What is that new law? They protested against Israel. 365 people in central London on Saturday as supporters of recently banned pro-Palestinian group intentionally flouted the law as part of their effort to force the government to reconsider the ban. Parliament in early July passed a law banning Palestinian action and making it a crime to publicly support the organization. That crime, that came after activists broke into the Royal Air Force Base and vandalized 2 tanker planes to protest against Britain's support for Israel's offensive against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Here's a video. Look, I oppose genocide. I oppose genocide. Look at how evil those people are. How dare you oppose genocide? Cops forcibly remove an elderly from Palestinian action protest. One officer films demonstrators' faces with a 4K cam. Remember another time when they were arresting old people just for being outside? Spanish town bans Muslim festivities in public spaces as anti-Islamification movement gains momentum. You can't hear it, but there's Muslim Islamic chanting down there at the bottom, I guess. Far from frantic. How active has the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season been? Pretty nothing. There's only been let's see, it spans from June to November, but only a sliver of total activity usually occurs before August. This makes early season developments useful pulse check on what may lie ahead. Let's see. I think so far there's been like 4 storms, no hurricanes at all. Now, I said this exact same thing last year, and then Helene hit. But right now, we're not even close. I think we're in Dexter right now. Yeah, here it is. This is for this year. So by this time last year, we had 5. There's 4 now, and 1, 2, 3 hurricanes, 4 hurricanes to just tropical storms. And that includes it's been 100 degrees here the last week and a half. U.S. just smashed past the $37 trillion mark, a historic first, up $780 billion since Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. That's $22 billion added every single day. How do you feel watching Def Clock tick higher and higher every second? But make sure you pay those taxes because you got to somehow you're saving something somewhere. Anyways, just wanted to throw this in there. It's a quick one. That's still just over 20 minutes. Click like, subscribe, and all that jazz. The bell underneath in the show notes. Show notes is already underneath. Link for you if you want to see any of those. Share them out with others. We're doing it. I see numbers going up, so keep clicking the like button, keep commenting, keep doing all that stuff. It might be working. Also, don't forget to check out sensitivefidelity.tv for the app. I'll be uploading next week's videos tonight, so I'll fix that app. I'll update it tonight for the week coming up. Anyways, God love you. Have a great rest of the day, and talk soon.